good Denmark team. I think just fresh from the Euros, right? They had a very impressive Euros the year before. I think it's a very, very good Denmark team.
Other teams that would advance are Germany, who defeated Mexico 2-1, La Maledición del Quinto Partido, and then Romania would lose 1-0 to Croatia. So
and quickly, everyone remembers this. Romania, this is the game when all the players dyed their hair blonde.
Yeah, that's true.
Do you remember that?
True.
That was that game. Yeah, that was that game.
True. So now we are at the quarterfinals. The quarterfinals would be played in Nantes, Marseille, Saint-Denis, and Lyon on the 3rd and 4th of July, 1998. On the 3rd of July, the fixtures were Brazil, Denmark, and Italy, France. Brazil would walk out winners in a thriller, 3-2 against Denmark, and the last goal came at the 60th minute, so you can imagine the 30 remaining minutes of a World Cup match, how intense they must have been. And going to Saint-Denis, it was the day also of Italy-France. Now, France, before this World Cup, this is another interesting thing, France had never really done anything big on the international stage before then. So this was, to me, the first big game in which they had to prove whether they were a solid team or not. And Italy, not because I'm Italian, but we already had 3 World Cups under our belt. We were the World Cup finalists in the edition before, but I think we were honestly extremely scarred from our experience at USA 94 for what had happened in penalties. I mean, Roberto Baggio, the world's best player, missing a penalty, unbelievable. So I think that it was really an interesting game because there is this powerhouse trying to forget a heartbreak and this rising powerhouse trying to establish themselves. The game would be actually a 0-0 draw until overtime, and then it proceeded to penalties. Now, this was the beginning of we could say, a curse for Italy and penalties, because until 2006, penalties would not be a happy moment for us.
You're welcome. You're welcome, by the way.
Yeah. Albertini and Di Biagio would miss Italy's penalties, while Lizarazu would miss France's only missed penalty, and France would advance. Heartbreak for Italy, a generation of very promising players coming up that have to suffer their first very bitter defeat. They would have another shot.
What was the feeling in Italy after this? Because I know in England the feeling was that was a missed opportunity. We were unlucky, we played well, things went against us, we'll go again. What was the feeling in Italy after this tournament?
The feeling was just, I think it was just a little bit, big time bitterness. Like you go out in a World Cup final at penalties and you lose, you come back and you draw 0-0. There is the feeling with a 0-0, there is always the feeling that you could have done more. And bitter feeling. But then I feel like Italy really came back stronger 2 years later at the European Championship in 2000.
Yeah, definitely.
The other 2 games at the quarterfinals, Netherlands-Argentina. Netherlands would win 2-1 in a thriller. Rory.
This game. Now, if England-Argentina was one of the greatest games, this game isn't far behind. Now, this is 2 incredible teams facing off against each other. You watch the highlights, it's like a basketball game. It's just attack, 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 attack. And the winning goal, I think everybody remembers this goal. This is one of my all-time favourite goals, not only for who scores it, not only for the commentary, but just the beauty of it is Dennis Bergkamp to make it 2-1. I think
at the 90th minute.
90th minute. It's a long ball from Koku, and Bergkamp controls it with his right foot back heel, which somehow puts it onto his left foot, and he strokes it into the top corner. And I just remember the commentator like, Bergkamp, 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 for like 5 minutes. An unbelievable goal. But that game was amazing. Everything looks incredible. The kits look incredible. The crowd looks amazing. I think that game's in Saint-Etienne, right? I think, everything about it looks beautiful. What a game. What a game.
It was in Marseille, by the way.
In
but
Marseille, yes.
Beautiful stadium. And then Germany would be battered by Croatia 3-0. Why are you laughing?
I just like it when Germany lose.
Yeah. And that was their worst defeat in 40 years or something, right?
In 44 years. That was their worst defeat in 44 years. They lost 3-0. This was Davor Šuker really kind of putting himself on the map. He was obviously at Real Madrid at this point. People knew who he was, but he was forcing himself through for Croatia and proving really key. This Croatia team is so impressive. And I think if they, like, I saw an interview with their manager, and he just said if things, again, a big if, but if things had just been a bit different, they could have got to the semis. They could have pushed on. It was a very, very good team. Very good Croatian team.
Denmark, Argentina, Italy, and Germany are all out of the competition. And here the seat starts getting hot because we're at the semifinals, which would be played on July 7th in Marseille and on July 8th in Saint-Denis. We've got Brazil facing the Netherlands and France facing Croatia. Let's start in chronological order from Brazil-Netherlands, a game that ended 1-1 in regular time with goals from the one and only Ronaldo Nazario and Kluivert at the 87th minute. The game would eventually go to penalties where Cocu and De Boer for the Netherlands would miss theirs, making Brazil the first finalists of that edition of the World Cup.
Now, this is something, I think there's a few countries that can kind of wallow in their misfortune in penalty shootouts, but Holland definitely have a shout. They have a 29% win rate when it comes to penalty shootouts in international tournaments, only slightly ahead of England. And this is one of them where I think, who is it who misses? De Boer misses and Philip Cocu misses. It's just, again, like we said, a great Holland team, but penalty shootouts are a lottery. I was surprised this was only 1-1, but again, this game was just really open. I think, as you expect when Brazil play or when Holland play, right? Not much defending, lots of attacking, and just a great game to go back and watch. So much talent, so much reminiscing material, and Ronaldo, peak Ronaldo.
And moving to the other game, France-Croatia, I remember actually this game because Croatia went up with the Šuker at the 46th minute, and right after, Lilian Thuram becomes a forward, a center back that becomes a forward. And I remember this game because I asked my dad, I was like, but isn't Thuram a defender? I didn't play football when I was a kid. Yeah. I watched it with my dad. I was like, isn't Thuram a defender? And he was like, yeah, he is. And I was like, and defenders can score goals? He was like, yeah, they can. And I was like, so they can cross like midfield? And he was like, dude, yeah, they can. Like, yeah, of course they can.
Not netball.
In my 5-year-old mind, I was like, wait, Thuram, oh my God. And he scored a brace. And he would make...
Yeah. Watching these highlights, I was like, wait, why is he constantly on the edge of the box? Like, what's he doing?
Because he has a bastard of a strike, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And that would make France the second finalist. And here we move to the big moment. July 12th, 1998, 9 p.m. Central European time. Brazil, the current world champions, face France in their first ever World Cup final.
Now, before we talk about this final, you cannot talk about this final without talking about what happened before this final. So, for anyone who doesn't know, Ronaldo was obviously in the form of his life. He was taking the tournament by the scruff of the neck. And shortly on the day of the final, shortly before they travelled to the Stade de France for the final, Ronaldo has a fit in his room. Now, they don't know if it's an epileptic fit, if it was convulsions, but players that have talked about it since have said they thought he was going to die, right? The doctor had to, they rushed a doctor in, he gave him medicine, and he was told that he was not going to play. Now, I remember this moment on English TV. I don't know if it's the same in Italy, but all the pundits were like, and the big news is Ronaldo is not in the starting 11. Everyone was going crazy. Rumours were flying. Now, of course, here, there's a conspiracy theory about why Ronaldo played. It's either that he chose to play or that sponsors forced him to play because there was so much money on the line. Yes. Yeah.
Which is, I understand why there was a lot of speculation around it, because only 1 year before there was the big flu game in which Michael Jordan, who was basically basketball's Ronaldo, right? He couldn't. He was feeling sick during the game. There were rumors about food poisoning, that they had delivered him a poisoned pizza. So that scandal was still very much alive, and people were considering that maybe the same thing had happened to Ronaldo, the tournament being held in France, right?
Yeah. Exactly. I think it was, when you watch the game, if you go back, you can see Ronaldo is just not with it. I think the first Zidane goal, Ronaldo just lets him run past him in front of the corner like he doesn't even see him. And when he gets the ball, he's very off the pace. He loses the ball. There was something not right there. But I feel like this always takes value away from the fact that France were incredible that final. Like, Brazil weren't on their game, but France very much were on their game that final. It kind of amazed me that Zidane's 2 goals were from corners. I kind of forgot that. I thought it was more kind of like free-flowing attacking football, but Brazil never even got close. The second half, they kind of pushed on, started to get a few chances. Just as they do, Petit scores a last-minute winner, and it's game over. But a final that I'm sure will stick in the memory because of the surprise more than anything.
And yeah, absolutely. I remember throwing a 5-year-old tantrum when it was very late at night. I mean, I was supposed to be in bed and I was tired and I was rocking my Ronaldo shirt and I really wanted Brazil to win for my grandpa, and they didn't win. And so I threw a fit and my dad told me to go to bed. I remember that very, very well.
I would say at the same time, in a small town in England, there was another kid doing exactly the same. My family all said before the game they were supporting France, and I was like, no, Brazil are going to win. Brazil are going to win. And I remember being sat on the other side of the living room on my own, sulking because Brazil had lost and it wasn't fair.
It was not fair. How many times we've said that after that, watching our favorite team lose. But yeah, that would make France World Cup winners for the first time in their history, with an incredible team featuring the likes of Zidane, of course, Henry, Trezeguet, Deschamps, Blanc, Barthez. Wow, what an incredible team. Really sums up a generation of great talent.
And they were the first host nation team to win it in 20 years. They were the first host nation team to win the World Cup at home in 20 years. And the celebrations afterwards are incredible to see. They are the biggest celebrations in France since the end of World War II.
Yeah.
Over 1 million people on the Champs-Élysées. And seeing Zidane's face projected onto the Arc de Triomphe, this child of immigrants, it was a new start for France. They called it kind of the blue, white and black, right? It was this announcement of these kind of the children of France's colonies that were coming through and lifting the trophy for the nation at home. I think it's a very powerful image, and I hope it happens in England one day.
Yeah. Good luck waiting, Rory. But yeah,
I'm going to hold my breath.
This was it with our weekly topic. We're going to talk about other World Cups and international competitions in other episodes. But this gets me thinking that I haven't slightly thought about the mysterious player.
No, guys, so I hope you enjoyed taking a trip down memory lane with us. I know I enjoyed it. I feel like I'm 8/9 years old all over again. And yeah, honestly, I would definitely say, just if you've got a bit of spare time, just go back and watch the highlights. The shirts are incredible. They're all too big. The hairstyles are amazing. They're all too big. It's great to watch.
Yeah. Beautiful, beautiful throwback tournament. But we've got a mysterious player to find, and I'm ready for the challenge. Let's do it.
Let's do it. And welcome back, listeners, to the final part of the show, which is the big reveal of the answer to the mystery France 98 themed footballer. So, Tommy, do you need a recap of the clues?
All right. So he was born in 74. Let's see if I remember. He was born in 74. We don't know where. He started among the teams that he played for. There was Auxerre in France, then Inter, then AC Milan, and then?
Derby County, Partizan Belgrade and Plymouth Argyle.
All right. And then, other things you said about this player?
He won in his career. He won Ligue 1 with Auxerre. He won the Coupe de France with Auxerre twice. He won the UEFA Cup with Inter, the